and day 2 of the Over 50s Festival. It's a very different day to yesterday here, as you can probably see with the weather. Today's sort of overcast. Still very still conditions. There was a slight breeze earlier, but that's dropped off now, and it's very, very still. We've got a little, I think it might be a pheasant making the entrance. I can't work out whether it's a female pheasant or a grouse, but there's 2 of them making an entrance from stage left. And in shot is brilliant angler, Mike Barlow. Now, Mike's had a blistering run. I've been here for probably 10 minutes filming on the big camera, and in that time he has literally not stopped catching. Shipping fish back from that little bit of mud you can see on the far bank. Now he's on a lovely peg here, peg 1 on canal. It's a noted sort of good peg, and he was very happy to draw it this morning. He's doing really well. He's literally keeping things very, very tight, just feeding across that little kinder pot there that he's got on. You can see how much he's taking the time to really be dead accurate, so that he's lining them fish up where he wants them. Looking at that, I think he's feeding ground bait, potentially maggots or meat on the hook. I'm not sure, but his trap's set. So what I'm going to do on this video, I'll do a wider shot now so you can see what he's up to, and then I'll try and zoom in after he catches his next fish. When he goes back in, I'll try and zoom in and show you exactly what he's up to out there in the lake. But he's having a blistering run. The whole venue is fishing much better than yesterday from what I can see. Lots of fish being caught everywhere, really. And Mike's admitting to 25, well, this will be number 26 actually, 26 F1s, and he says they're not the stockies, so they're all decent fish. Where will that put him weight-wise? I'd estimate 40 to 50 pound probably already, so he's certainly on for a ton plus. Now the beauty of this method is obviously Mike's catching really, really steadily. He's not emptying it shallow or anything like that, but what you often find with tactics like shallow fishing here at Tunnel Barn is, while they can be absolutely brilliant early doors, sometimes they do peter out, or sometimes the fish sort of, they'll get a bit more spooky as the day goes on. But generally, when you're fishing up to mud or up to a feature, as long as you keep your feeding controlled, you can keep fish coming much, much better. I mean, that's a big F1. That's probably over 3 pound, that one. So it doesn't take many of those. Let's see if he'll tell us. Is it maggots on the hook, Mike?
Yeah,
double white maggot on the hook, so yeah. Now you might know, some of you, Mike's son, Connor. He's a fantastic angler, former Daiwa Pole Fishing Masters champion, former England international, and no stranger to success at, well, all sorts of venues, to be fair. He's won the festivals at Monk Hall, he's won them here at Tunnel Barn. Brilliant angler, but he's certainly a chip off the old block, because his dad's also been a prolific angler over the years. Great success in Ireland, and also here in England as well. So let's see if we can get in this time and zoom in and just show you what he's up to out there. Okay, I'm going to as close as I can to that mud. Give us a thumbs up if that picture quality is alright, folks. I'm keeping it as still as I can. So you just fed. Just lifted that float into the feed, and already you can see activity on that float in the left hand side of the screen. He's just loose feeding his shallow line. You can see that float's constantly moving, but he's waiting for a proper indication before he strikes. There we are, and that's another F1 for Mr. Barlow. Not as big, that one, I don't think. That might be one of the stockies that we were talking about earlier. Let's have a look. There he is, look. So as you can see, it's just a very, very good, consistent sport. So what's happening round and about in terms of the runners and riders from yesterday? Now, I'm fairly sure Mike won his section yesterday, so he's potentially on for 2 wins. Harry Billing, he's on a great peg, and as we saw earlier on the live, he was catching a few fish. He's on a win from yesterday. Steve Parry, we're going to go up and see on high pole how he's getting on shortly, but he's on a win from yesterday. And on a peg that he sort of fancied. Mick Stamp, we saw him catching early as well, although it did look like Mr. Garnett next to him, Sid Garnett, was catching probably a little bit better than him. That can all change, of course. And then on Jenny's, where we need to go next, because I'm curious to see what's happening on Jenny's. We've obviously got yesterday's champion, Steve Daly, who's drawn a peg he was very happy with. And just with how these fish are feeding on every other lake, I can't see past him having another brilliant day on there. I think he'll have a big weight on there. It's definitely a lake for a big weight. When the fish switch on, often, you know, Jenny's pool can throw up some huge weights. So it'll be very interesting to see how he gets on. We'll head over there next. But for now, we'll have another few minutes watching Mike. In case you don't know the format of these events, by the way, it's 3 days. This event's open to everybody over 50 years of age, and it's sponsored by Dams and Homes and Dynamite Baits. So I say a 3-day event. The results decided on section wins. So the anglers are split into sections of 7. And we have tried on this to make the sections as fair as possible. Like, for example, this lake that you can see now, Canal, it's split in half. So in effect, if you imagine this side of the lake is one section and the other side is another section. It's not each bank, it's each half. So obviously if the wind pushes one way, it just balances things up a little bit. So anglers are fishing for a section win, which would give them obviously 1 point down to 6 points for a lasting section. And at the end of the 3 days, it's the angler with the lowest cumulative score that wins the festival. So you'll probably, I'm almost sure you're going to need 3 points to win it, 3 section wins, and you're probably going to need a decent weight as well. There'll probably be, my guess, there'll be 4 or 5 anglers on a perfect 3 points. It doesn't always work like that. There could only be 1, there could be none. But typically on these events, when we have sections of sort of 6, 7, 8, you know, there's 4 or 5 people on perfect points. It drops down. Now, in the event of a tie on perfect points, what happens is it goes to weight count back. So say, for example, at the end of the week, there's 7 or 8 people tied on 4 or 5 points. The angler out of those 7 or 8 with the highest cumulative weight will come top of those on the same points. So it does reward those who catch big weights of fish as well. Paying the top 12, there's 124 anglers fishing, so it's a big old festival, and we're paying the top 12. It was a nice little dink, then I saw that. And another nice fish for Mike. Yeah, we're paying the top 12, so plenty to out for anglers to fish for. Peter Burt says, "Hi Tom." Hi Peter, hope you're well, mate. Wish you were fishing, I know I do, watching this. Sadly, I've got to wait another 12 or 30, or 13 years till I can fish this. Being there for over 50s only. Fortunately, there's a lot of events here for everybody else. There's the Pole Masters next month. There's our October Drenham Pole Championship, and of course, there's the new Spring Spectacular, the second round of which takes place next, I think it's April. So there's plenty for people to get involved in who want to take in the festival scene here at Tunnel Barn Farm. I personally, I know I'm biased, but I believe it's probably the best festival commercial match fishing in the country down here, simply because it's got such a big arena for anglers to take part. The lakes are so fair and similar. I'll give you an example. I mean, yesterday, the top 5 in the match, i.e. the top 5 individual placings, all came from a different lake. And that's not unusual here. It's often the case that, you know, one lake will win it, a different lake will be second, a different lake will be third. You know, so you really have a chance of competing, not just in your section, but in the match overall, off every single lake on the right pegs. So it's a very, very fair, level playing field. So we'll watch Mike up one more, and then we're going to sign off. It's creeping out there. He's fishing what looks to me to be just under 16 metres. It's 16 metres of his pole, but he's obviously got a short kit in there So it's probably 15 metres he's fishing. And that just puts him up to the mud, and that didn't take long at all for a bite, did it? Whether that one's in the mouth, I think it is actually, looking at it. You can see the rate at which he's catching, folks. Just an absolute pleasure to watch. As I said, I definitely think he's going to be on for a ton plus today. And he's caught, what's that, 3 fish in 10 minutes since we've been filming? 4 fish. Averaging, it must be averaging over £1. So we'll say £5 every 10 minutes. We'll say, what's that, £30 an hour. It's on for £150 if it carries on like this. Maybe a bit less on average looking at the fish, maybe £130, £140. Certainly a good day, and he's right up there. So we'll bring you another update as soon as we can.